Good morning and welcome to Temple Buddhist Center's Sunday meditation service. My name is Dave and I'm honored to be of service this morning. We hope that our service finds you happy and healthy, but please know that if you're struggling in any way, we hope that Temple Buddhist Center can be a source of refuge for you as we open our hearts to you and your loved ones. Let's begin this morning with some conscious breath work, taking a few moments to ground, to experience the body, and to breathe together. Conscious breathing is where you seal the mouth, breathe deeply through the nose, pause for a moment, and then release slowly so that the exhale is longer than the inhale. Let's begin. Breathing in, pausing just a moment, feeling the fullness of the lungs, and releasing slowly. And as you release, checking in with the body, just being aware of what is present and alive in the body right now. The second conscious breath, pausing just a moment, ventilating this precious human form, and releasing slowly. And as you release, see if you can release any worry or concerns from the week. All the energy of doing, going, striving, accomplishing. Just allow yourself a few moments to cultivate the energy of being, not doing. And a third conscious breath together. Pausing just a moment. And releasing slowly. And as you release, taking time to invite into your awareness the present moment, fully arriving in the here and now. Here at Temple Buddhist Center, we like to begin our service with a chant. Chanting is an integral part of every tradition, and it's not about being a singer, it's about having a voice. And Victor will explain our chant this morning.
Thank you, Dave. Our chant this morning is Om Ami Dewa Ze, Om Ami Dewa Ze. And this chant in the Buddhist tradition is a chant that enhances compassion for all beings in all places. And as the Buddha said, if your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. And you might even recognize Om, the seed sound. Om in Sanskrit is the sound of the universe, reminding each one of us that we are a beautiful note in a grand cosmic symphony that is forever playing. And so, let's take a conscious breath together. And let's begin. Om Ami Dewa Ze. Om Ami Dewa Ze. Om Ami Om Ami Deva Ze. Om Ami Deva Ze. With a smile. Om Ami Deva Ze. Om Ami Deva Ze. Once more. Om Ami Deva Ze.
Here at Temple Buddhist Center, we practice Western Buddhism, a blend of Eastern philosophy and Western psychology. This new and exciting form of spirituality is dynamic, inclusive, active, and focuses on core Buddhist insights as well as mindfulness, meditation, and their practical application in our daily life. Our goal here isn't to get everyone to agree on any one lineage or philosophy. Rather, it's on cultivating a shared experience of mindfulness, oneness, and love. Whether we are chanting, meditating, or sharing from the heart, we respect that you'll participate only at the level that feels comfortable for you. We take refuge in the three jewels and acknowledge these core values as expressions of the awakened mind: the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We value awareness of our own Buddha nature as well as the Buddha nature of all beings, allowing a new perspective of this and every precious moment. The second jewel is the Dharma, the truth teachings that release us from fear and delusion and help us to realize the true nature of who we are. And Sangha, our spiritual community, an essential part of growth where we practice the teachings together and help each other along every step of the path. Let's take a moment now to silence any electronics and to prepare a meditative environment. And we will recite the prayer of refuge. We'll recite this together 3 times in honor of the 3 jewels. Together, in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened, through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened, through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened, through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. As we prepare now for a time in meditation, if you have an extensive practice, then I invite you to practice in a way that's fitting for you this morning. If you're new to meditation, we'll begin with an opening dedication. We'll sound the bell 3 times. There will be a brief guided meditation, and then we'll spend approximately 12 to 15 minutes in noble silence. Let's begin by breathing together. body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart with the sound of the bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness, transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow, and realize the true nature of who they are.
As the sound of the bell decays, guiding us into stillness, showing us the way. If you need to take another conscious breath or adjust your posture or whatever you need to do to partner with the body to find a new level of gentleness and ease, remembering to release the forehead, unfurrow the eyebrows, relax the jaw, the shoulders drop and the belly softens. With every out-breath, we discover a new level of ease. And so as the body settles in and our breath returns to its natural flow, its natural rhythm, there is no need to manipulate the breath in any way. We can turn our awareness now to awareness itself, noticing when the mind becomes distracted by a sound, perhaps in the room or in the hallway or outside, noticing when the mind becomes distracted by a sensation like an itch or a tummy rumble, and noticing when the mind becomes distracted with a thought or perhaps even a string of thoughts. All these things simply come and go. All these things rise and they fall. Our practice is to cultivate a deep understanding of what it is that they come and go within. Our practice is to cultivate wisdom, which is in the body. It is cultivating the knower, not the things that are known. And so connected to the breath, the body is easy, gentle, light. The mind is clear, yet receptive to whatever might arise. And the heart is open. We can move more deeply now into our meditation. I close my eyes and I see clearly. I stop trying to listen and I hear truth. I am silent, yet my heart sings. I seek no contact, and I find union. I am still and move forward. I am gentle and need no strength. I am humble and remain whole, returning again and again to the breath, returning again and again home. And so I invite you to remain in a meditative state, connected with the breath. The body is easy and light. And I invite you now to bring your awareness to the sense door of sound, noticing the sound of my voice, any sounds of the air handlers moving. And as you become aware of the sense door of sound, at the same time, can you keep a small amount of your awareness on that still, deep silence within? Can you keep a small amount of your awareness on that silence that is not dependent on external circumstances and is always with us, always accessible? Next, I invite you to bring your awareness to the sense door of touch as you become aware of the feeling of your clothing upon your skin, or perhaps the feeling of the chair or the cushion beneath you. And as you become aware of material and matter and form, can you keep a small amount of your awareness on that which is formless? In other words, can you keep a small amount of your awareness on awareness itself? Can you be aware that you are aware? Next, I invite you to bring your awareness to the sense door of sight as you slowly begin to open your eyes, just allowing in a little bit of light, not focusing hard on anything. In fact, I invite you to keep kind of a panoramic or a peripheral view of the room, seeing the walls, the floor, and the ceiling all at the same time. And as you become aware of things and stuff and objects and colors, at the same time, can you keep some of your awareness on the space around these things, the space in and through? Can you be aware of the space in the room or that space that surrounds the building, our community? Can you sense the space around this planet? And even though we are sitting perfectly still, we are spinning at thousands of miles an hour. We are orbiting even faster. Our solar system is a part of the Milky Way, and it is spinning and rotating, and even the galaxy is moving through the universe. Even though we're sitting still, we've never been in the same space for more than an instant. And so next, I invite you to take a conscious breath together, holding for a moment and releasing. And as you release, be present in the here, in the now, in this time, and in this place. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Jordan. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's so nice to see you and be here with everybody. There's a briskness in the air after our big rain yesterday. And happy Sunday. Happy Plaza Art Fair. Happy finding a parking spot. Just happy. Also, recognition and acknowledgement that September is Suicide Awareness Month, And I don't know if many of you know this, but they have established a national hotline like we would use 911 for emergencies. Well, 988 is the National Suicide Prevention Line. So when I was in Washington a couple weeks ago, that subject came up, and they're really pushing very hard because they're having trouble getting people around the country to understand and realize that 988 is all you have to press if you are feeling distressed. So I wanted to make sure that you know that so you can share that with friends. Also, I don't know if anybody else is having this problem, but like this morning, I've had this sweater on and off like 4 times. It's hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. You know, we're moving into that time of the year when the buildings are trying to keep up with the changes. And so remember to layer your sweaters and things. So the talk today, equanimity, Equinox, not sure that the two words have all that much in common other than the fact that they both mean the middle way, that balance, that center point. And so I liked it. I put the two together. And the autumn equinox, which of course many of you know was yesterday, of course marks the arrival of the season of fall, traditionally seen as a period of changes, sweaters, scarves, our wardrobes, or we're swapping them out, right? So a series of changes that are leading to the darker period of winter. Equinox, of course, descends from equus, which is the Latin word for equal or even, and nox, the Latin word for night. Very fitting history for a word that describes days of the year now when the daytime and the nighttime are at an equal point. They are equal in length. So what spiritual lessons, what spiritual practices are suggested by the coming of autumn? And so I wanted to talk a little bit about equanimity today, and also a couple areas, specifically 3 of them, that you can take with you as we go through these new weeks of September and fall and autumn. So perhaps 3 practices for the autumn season that you can take home and work with. Equanimity, of course, being one of the 4 Brahma Viharas, otherwise known as the 4 heavenly abodes or the 4 faces of the heart. And so the 4 of them together are metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha, or basically metta being loving kindness, metta karuna being compassion, mudita being sympathetic joy, and then finally upekkha being equanimity. So what's interesting is that these 4 are related because when love, metta, when love meets suffering, for the practitioner, compassion arises. When love meets happiness, for the practitioner, joy arises, sympathetic joy. A win for one is a win for us all. And these 3 together help comprise equanimity, which is, for the practitioner, is a steadfastness. Sort of like I often use the analogy or the metaphor of the lighthouse, where we are shining brightly in fair weather or foul, right? Recognizing a much larger picture than simply being caught up in the experience itself. So I want to talk about these 3 things as a companion to equanimity, and I'll close with a little bit more about equanimity. So here are 3 things that I think we can work with going into the fall season. Number 1, balancing darkness with light. On the autumn equinox, day and night, yesterday, are absolutely equal in length. This signals the need to balance light and darkness within us as well. Far too often, we are caught up in the fear of the dark, and we're fearing, we're worried, ruminating about what could happen, a fear of the darkness. Some might even be dreading winter. And so we need to balance that what's known as negativity bias. It's a natural proclivity of the mind, of the ego itself. Its job is to protect you. So the ego is always scanning for what could be painful, dark. And so our problem is we become identified with that. We are not that. What we are is what is aware of that proclivity of the mind. So balancing the light and the darkness within us, balancing that fear of the dark with our adoration of the light or the joy or the happiness in our life. And I myself am acknowledging that it is just as natural to feel insecure, to feel scared, to feel anxious, as it is to feel peaceful, to feel excited, to feel happy. And the human heart is vast and has the capacity to hold both at the same time. That's an interesting concept, because when we become identified with a behavioral pattern of thinking, then the whole universe collapses down onto this worry, onto this rumination. And even when we are in the throes of, let's say, grief, perhaps the loss of a pet, or the loss of a job, or the loss of a relationship, even when we are in that, there is a heaviness of the heart and a pain in the body, but we can still be with friends and laugh. We can still break out our poetry book or our paints, and we can feel the joy of painting or creativity at the same time that we are feeling grief. You have absolute permission, if that's what you need, to be able to experience them both fully. I myself am working with all of these states equally as I stay present to the journey of assisting my mother in her transition. Not trying to change the sadness, not trying to force it to be something else, not constantly wishing things were different than the way they are. That's the disease of the mind. Always wanting things to be different than the way they are. Too hot, too cold, too sunny, too cloudy, too hot. I mean, I already said that, but too whatever, right? So sadness is to be accepted, to be acknowledged, to be loved, and to be honored. You see, sadness teaches us the depth of our ability to feel. How deeply can you feel? And even though it may be unpleasant, what I have discovered for myself in the practice is that when you can stay with deep pain, there is a sweetness in it. Because to the extent we love, we hurt. Cannot have one without the other. And so equanimity is an embodiment of our ability to live in the context of our lives instead of the content of our lives. There was a great Zen master by the name of Toku-san who, while he was still a student, visited his teacher, Ryutan. And just before sundown, they sat down together on the floor of Ryutan's hut, casually drinking tea and discussing the practice until late into the night. And so at some point, his teacher said, maybe it's time to go home. And so Toku-san bowed to his teacher and walked to the front door and opened it and exclaimed, "It is completely dark outside." And so Ryutan went over, lit a lantern, and said, "Why not take this?" And just as Toku-san was about to take the lantern from his teacher's hand, his teacher blew out the light, the candle. And in that moment, Toku-san had a satori, an awakened experience. And the teaching in that is this: sometimes there is no remedy for our situation than to begin from a point of absolute darkness. In other words, turning off a television set or a radio station and extinguishing a lantern have certain similarities. There was a point in my practice, well, actually, there were 2 points that I remember distinctly because they were these satori's or awakened experiences. They were not conceptual. They were not intellectual. But one point is I had gone to see a movie at a movie theater, and I have never in my life done this. All of a sudden, I realized that I'm looking at a wall with lights on it. And I looked around the room and I'm watching all these people, and that's me. I so caught up in this story. But I kind of broke out of the moment, and this had never happened to me before. And it was very interesting because in that moment, I really couldn't get back into the movie. And so I just kind of grabbed my things and left. It wasn't unpleasant, but it was really surreal. And a similar experience happened to me one evening when I was watching TV. I'm engrossed in it. And it just kind of became time to go to bed. And so I grabbed the remote control and I turned it off. And in that moment, I saw my reflection in the television. And so I sat there for another 10 minutes, just noticing that. Again, nothing to think about. No meaning do I need to attach to it. It was just an awakened experience. So that's number one. You have 5 or 6 more hours because I have 2 more to get to. Number 2, a practice that we can take with us into the fall, letting go. Such an easy thing to say. How many songs, how many poems, how many friends, how many things are let it go, let it go. So as we watch the leaves fluttering to the ground here in the fall, we are reminded that nature's cycles are mirrored in our lives. Autumn is a time for letting go and releasing things that perhaps have been a burden. All traditions pay homage or tribute to such acts of relinquishment. Fall is a good time to practice getting out of the way and letting our Buddha nature just guide our lives. In the practice of Seijaku is the advanced form of Tai Chi Cha, what we teach here every Tuesday evening at 6:30. And in this practice, the practitioner moves through the forms, and as they move through the forms, there is a moment of resistance, and that is let go of completely. Through all of the different forms, at some point there is a moment of resistance, and that is released. And in that practice, we are practicing letting go. How completely can I release that resistance? And this then moves into my life. When I'm standing there impatient at somebody counting out pennies, and I notice that moment of annoyance, how completely can I drop that? When I'm sitting at the stoplight, oh man, and I'm noticing that resistance, how fully, how absolutely, completely can I go from that moment to just presence with no residue? Lately, the word normal has been coming up a lot for me. God, I wish things could just get back to normal. That's the egoic mind. The egoic mind always sets up criteria. You can be fully happy once you, Here we go, long list. Have the right job, the right partner, the weather's just right, you have the right clothing, the right hairdo. I mean, the list is endless. That's how you know when you are caught up in an egoic mind state. There's a criteria. There is no normal. Change. Perhaps we could say change is normal. And so, as I'm experiencing my life right now, it is anything but what it was a week ago. But that's what's normal. And that's what I'm working with, adjusting to how things are now in this moment. In the book, Kinds of Power, James Hillman challenges us to learn from artists about this topic. He goes on to say, what the actor tries to achieve on stage is to get out of the way so that the character that he or she is portraying can come fully out. So too the writer, so too the painter, the sculptor, the poet, the musician, the athlete, the dancer. They have to get out of the way of the flow of creativity so that whatever it is that is coming through can realize and manifest. So sometimes we can release by discovering the ways that we are in the way. How am I blocking? How am I preventing? Number 3, acknowledging impermanence. Autumn reminds us of the impermanence of everything. We have experienced the budding of life, of spring, the flowering of summer. Now the leaves fall and bare branches remind us of the fleeting nature of all things. I was once told that certain spiritual masters in Tibet used to actually turn their teacups upside down right before bed as a way to acknowledge and remind them that all of life was impermanent. And then when they awoke each morning, they would turn their teacups right side up with a happy thought, I am still alive and still can enjoy a cup of tea. This simple gesture was a wonderful reminder to celebrate every moment of the day. This is the gift of the understanding and realization of impermanence. And so I want to talk now and kind of bring the talk to a close on equanimity itself. As we walk through the coming weeks of fall, we may want to call on the strength of these elemental inner resources for mental balance. For example, there are times when we will need to stand our ground strong like a mountain, staying pure in our intention to awaken. There are times when we will need to observe what it is that is emerging, or we may need to add a spark of fiery truth to a situation. Other times, we may need to open and allow more space around our tightness, around our contracted thoughts, to bring a sense of space and ease to worry and to rumination, to let go and be held by an ocean of love. In all of these forms, equanimity is awareness. An awareness so spacious that whatever arises in our mind and our heart, whether agreeable, whether disagreeable, is small and incidental compared to awareness itself, vast, pure, true. In other words, when we are equanimous, nothing is left out of our heart's view. Equanimity enables us to know the energetic movements of mind without reactivity. It is an experience of grounded presence in the midst of extremes. When the mind is steady and responsive, and when we can say to ourselves, this present moment is like this, and it doesn't have to be different right now. I can allow what is here and offer what is needed. There is a mantra for you. I can allow what is here and offer what is needed. Perhaps a smile, a kind word, a moment of silence, a cup of tea. Imagine the power of this inner resource as we engage with the messy world that we live in. And so I'd like to close with this little poem by Jane Hirschfield called Ripeness. Ripeness is what falls away with ease. Not only the heavy apple or the pear, but also the dried brown strands of autumn, of the autumn iris from their core. To let your body love this world that gave itself to your care in all of its ripeness with ease. And it will take itself from you in equal ripeness and ease. This is also harvest. And however sharply you are tested, this sorrow, this challenge, it too will leave on that clean knife. Thank you.
Let's just take a moment now to embody the teachings before we move into a heart practice meditation. So let's take a conscious breath together. And our heart practice today is a metta practice, or loving kindness. So I'll have us start by bringing to mind a full body image of yourself. And as you hold this image in your mind, silently repeat to yourself these words of loving kindness. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be safe from inner and outer dangers. May I be well in body and mind, and may I be at ease and happy. And a conscious breath. And as you release, go ahead and bring to mind the image of a friend or a loved one. And holding this person in mind, send them metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind, and may you be at ease and happy. A conscious breath. And as you release, bring to mind the image of an acquaintance or someone you don't know. Maybe a stranger, maybe somebody you work with, somebody you just met today. And holding this person in mind, let's send them metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind, And may you be at ease and happy. And a conscious breath. And as you release that, bring to mind the image of a difficult person in your life. Could be a coworker or a family member, a political figure, a boss. And recognizing that even though they may be difficult, they are still worthy of loving kindness. Let's send them metta as well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. A conscious breath. And as you release that, bring to mind a full image of the world. All the plants and the animals, birds, the fish. And let's send the entire world metta. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be safe from inner and outer dangers. May we be well in body and mind. And may we be at ease and happy. And a conscious breath. And as you release that, open your eyes and smile. In the true spirit of dana, the Buddhist practice of generosity, temple services are given freely. In the same way, if you choose to give, please give with a generous heart, meaning not in return for anything that you've received, but so that others who may seek refuge can find it here in this temple. Dana boxes are located at the back of the meditation hall, and there's one up in the upper level near the door. And thank you to all of our wonderful volunteers and to our TBC ambassadors, those who have committed to electronic regular donations. It's not about the amount, it's just that the monthly giving helps us to set a budget here at TBC. If you would like to become an ambassador, just point your camera at the QR code on the cards in the seat backs in front of you, or you can come by our website at templebuddhistcenter.com. Thank you to Victor for sharing your wisdom with us today. And thank you, Jordan, for your beautiful music. And thank you to each and every one of you for joining us today and sharing your heart and your energy and your practice with us. We certainly are the better for it. And in just a moment, we will put the bodhicitta dedication up on the screen, and we will recite that together one time, and then that will formally close our service. And if you can stick around for just a couple of minutes after that, Victor will have some announcements. So the bodhicitta dedication together. May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. And with our hands together in front of our hearts, let us go forth from this place, entering each moment in innocence, guided by the wisdom of our hearts. And as we open our hands, open our eyes, shine our light into the world, namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, everyone, so much. Just a few announcements for you, some upcoming stuff. Don't forget crumble cookies, tea, and coffee downstairs for some fellowship. Also, every second and fourth Saturday, we have a new program called Growing Your Practice. This is kind of an intermediate meditation program that's designed to help really cement and concretize your meditation and mindfulness practice. Folks have talked about, really needing something to help them get a habit pattern going for this. And so that's what Growing Your Practice is designed. And so that meets today from 11:45 to 12:45 downstairs in the Power and Light room. So that's right underneath this. And then I think it's this week, this Friday, September 29th, is our full moon celebration. It'll be our last outdoor celebration. We'll come indoors this winter for our full moon celebrations. This will be at Westwood Park. It's 8 blocks west of us on 47th Street at the intersection of State Line and 47th. Bring a lawn chair, maybe a little blanket. We'll be doing dances of universal peace. We'll be building a flower mandala and also doing chanting. And so that's from 6 to 7:30 this coming Friday. We hope you can join us. And next Sunday, our very own Beth is leading her interplay class. She's a certified interplay coach. And this is a wonderful opportunity for adults to learn the joy, to relearn the joy of spontaneity and laughter in a safe and structured environment that's designed to help stabilize us in what that feels like to be spontaneous and to be silly and to have fun. But again, in a very safe and structured environment. So join us for that. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter and our volunteer opportunities on the counter right outside the meditation hall. And we have some new things. Liz has been discovering some fun new ways. I think her newest t-shirt that she's added says, "Have a Buddhaful day." So go and check that out in our store. She's having way more fun with this than I think we've created a monster here. So, and I will leave this up on the board for you if you'd like to take a picture of it. Lots of opportunities to connect during the week for our Sangha. Lots of ways to help deepen your understanding of the practice or Buddhism. Lots of ways to connect with community and to give back to the community. So Dave on Thursday nights leads the Recovery Dharma. Every Sunday at 12:30 is Buddhism and 12-step. Karen and Matt lead the Buddha and the Bean. Every Tuesday morning, coffee and discussion of awakening in all of its forms. So many wonderful programs, and we've got several new ones coming up. And I forgot to mention our day-long, which I don't think is up here, but our day-long silent retreat is coming up here very soon. I think it's October 21st, but I'll have some flyers out on that very quickly. So again, thank you all so much for being here today. Don't forget the Plaza Art Fair is going on, so you might want to go walk around and see a little bit of that out there as you leave. Peace, blessings, and go Chiefs.
That's a good question.
There was just like so many like little nuggets that I could.
Oh, I completely understand. I mean, I know that there's a video archive online, so I mean, if you wanted to go on the website, you could rewatch it. It's usually, if you go on templebuddhistcenter.com,
Yeah, I know.
it's there, and then also on the Facebook page. But yeah, he might be one